Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking something absolutely fascinating, and it's sitting right there inside your house. Seriously, if you walk into your kitchen right now and just look inside your pantry or your fridge, you're looking at a literal treasure trove. We're talking about something that for almost all of human history was considered an unimaginable, mind-altering resource. Yep, we're talking about sugar. We're going to explore exactly how your ancient survival software is directly colliding with the modern world.
Think about this for a second. Right now, you probably have enough sugar to make a prehistoric human completely lose their mind. And it's not just sitting there in the dessert drawer. It's hiding everywhere. It's in your bread, your ketchup, yogurt, cereal, even your pasta sauce. We're talking about foods that don't even really taste sweet to us anymore, you know? But if you stacked up all the sugar an average person eats in just a month, it wouldn't even look like food. It would look like a mountain of treasure. In fact, you probably consume more sugar in a single week than your ancient ancestors might have spent months trying to scrounge up.
Section 1. The Modern Sugar Shock. A pantry full of treasure. Let's get right into it.
So even our natural modern food is just a totally different ballgame today. Our ancestors, they lived on tough roots, bitter plants, really fibrous grains. Even fruit was completely different. Ancient wild bananas? They were tiny and just packed with these hard seeds. Ancient apples were incredibly sour, and wild watermelons were pale and bitter on the inside. But over thousands of years, humans selectively bred fruit to completely redesign it, making it larger, much softer, and intensely sweet. A modern strawberry would taste almost unreal to someone living 40,000 years ago. So every single time that intense sugar hits your tongue, your brain lights up. It literally reacts like an extraordinary, life-saving event just happened.
Section 2. Hunting for ancient sweetness. The extreme cost of calories.
I want you to transport yourself back in time for a minute. Imagine you're in Ice Age East Africa. You've spent the entire day moving through dry grasslands. And hunger? Well, hunger isn't just a fleeting appetite, it is a constant, grinding background sensation in your life. Your body has no idea when the next successful hunt is going to happen, so absolutely every single calorie matters. Out in nature, bitter tastes often signal poison, right? But sweetness? Sweetness means safe, instant energy. So when an ancient human noticed bees disappearing into a hollow tree, their attention locked onto it immediately. Honey. Thousands of calories packed into thick golden liquid. But getting it? Oh, it was going to hurt. Without protective clothing, without ladders, without rope harnesses, they climbed those trees anyway. They endured massive amounts of bee stings. We're talking well over 100 stings. Enduring cracking branches, risking fatal falls just to get to it. That is the extreme cost of calories in the ancient world.
In fact, sweetness was so critical to survival that anthropologists studying the Hadza Hunter-Gatherer Society in Tanzania have documented this absolutely incredible cross-species business partnership. Okay, get this. There's a bird in Africa called the honey guide. This bird knows that human hunters have the tools to break open beehives, and the humans know the bird has the aerial view to find them. So the bird literally guides the hunters through the wilderness, it flies ahead from tree to tree, and the humans follow its calls. Once they arrive, the humans break open the hive, take the honey, and the bird gets to feast on the leftovers. Humans and birds formed a literal business partnership thousands of years before civilization even existed. Crazy, right?
So the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is the biological logic of our ancestors. Sweetness meant immediate safety. When berry season finally arrived for just a few short weeks a year, it caused these brief, intense feeding frenzies. Birds, bears, primates, and humans were all competing for the exact same resource. Children's hands were stained purple, and adults would eat until their stomachs literally hurt. And why? Because there was no refrigerator waiting back at the cave. Your brain became deeply, permanently wired for emergency opportunity consumption.
Section 3. The Invention of Crystal Sugar, Changing Human History.
So around 8,000 years ago, people in New Guinea figured out they could chew sugarcane stalks for that sweet hit. It started spreading through trade, but then it hit ancient India. And this is where something history-altering happened. They invented crystallization. This was a real game changer. Before this moment, sweetness from ripe fruit or wild honey spoiled really quickly. But now it could be stored, it could be traded. Humanity was suddenly changing its environment way faster than our evolution could possibly keep up. Fast forward to 327 BCE, and Alexander the Great's soldiers encounter it, describing it as this magical plant that produced honey without bees. And by the 1700s, this once magical substance had spread globally and was finally becoming cheap enough for working-class Europe to get their hands on it.
Section 4. A dark global obsession. Wealth, decay, and empire.
Now, as sugar spread, its initial rarity turned it into an unbelievably expensive, almost mystical obsession. Kings literally locked it away in guarded chests, and doctors were prescribing it as medicine. During Queen Elizabeth I's era in England, things got so ridiculous that black, rotting teeth actually became a bizarre status symbol. No, seriously. Because sugar was so incredibly expensive, rotten teeth showed everyone in high society that you were wealthy enough to afford it. So for this brief, highly strange moment in human history, the poor had healthy teeth, the wealthy had rotting ones, and people actually envied the decay. You can't make this stuff up.
But as global demand absolutely exploded, European empires realized that tropical climates were perfect for growing sugarcane. And we have to talk about the dark reality here. This immense biological craving fueled one of the wealthiest industries on Earth, but it was built entirely upon immense human suffering. Huge plantations spread across the Caribbean and the Americas, and millions of enslaved Africans were forced into brutal labor harvesting sugarcane under horrific, unimaginable conditions. Entire global economies began revolving entirely around this one ancient biological craving for sweetness.
Section 5. Our broken survival software. The modern collision.
So when sugar finally became cheap for the working-class families, sweet tea, pastries, and jams just flooded the cities. And human biology was completely blindsided. Think about eating a whole orange. You peel it, you chew it, you digest the fiber, and eventually your body sends a signal saying, okay, I feel full. Now contrast that with drinking a modern soda. Within minutes, enormous amounts of sugar flood your bloodstream while your stomach barely even notices that anything happened. Modern processed sugar completely bypasses our natural fullness cues. It's like hacking the system. Just consider the prehistoric impossibility of 40 grams of sugar. There was simply no ancient equivalent to drinking 40 grams of sugar in a matter of minutes while sitting completely motionless on a living room couch. Your ancient brain is reacting as though you just hit the jackpot and found an extremely rare survival resource. Except now, that resource is everywhere, and it never ever disappears.
Think about the stark contrast between the ancient and modern worlds. In the ancient world, sweetness was this rare, brief spike. Now it's endless. It used to require serious danger and pain, like remember the 100 bee stings? Now the only effort required is walking down a grocery aisle bathed in fluorescent light. Nature used to provide our basic sugars. Today, food companies employ entire teams of scientists whose whole job is to test combinations of sugar, fat, and crunch until they find the exact perfect balance to keep your brain engaged and craving that next bite.
Because of this constant, everyday bombardment, something kind of sad has happened. Sweetness has actually stopped feeling special. Our constant overconsumption makes natural food taste incredibly dull. A plain strawberry is always going to lose against an engineered candy bar. But there is some really good news here. Researchers have found that if you reduce processed sugar for just a few weeks, your palate actually recalibrates. Ordinary foods begin tasting sweeter again. Fruit becomes intense. Even a glass of regular milk starts tasting surprisingly sweet. You can literally reset your brain back to its older, ancient settings.
Section 6. Culture, Comfort, and Cravings. The Emotional Tie.
So, if we can reset our palates, why is it so incredibly difficult to just stop eating sugar? Well, because sugar is no longer just about survival energy, it has fundamentally wired itself into our culture. Think about it. The first sweet thing most humans ever taste is breast milk, which links sweetness directly with comfort and safety right from birth. From then on, it's birthday cakes, chocolate gifts, parents rewarding children with candy for good behavior. We bring sweets to weddings, we bring them to funerals. Our very language reflects this whole shebang. We call the people we love honey, sweetheart, and sugar. Sweetness has basically become a proxy for love. The absolutely crucial point I want you to remember from all of this is you are fighting millions of years of survival instinct. So if you ever find yourself doing a midnight pantry raid looking for something, anything sweet, have a little empathy for yourself. Your brain is actually acting completely rationally for a dangerous, scarce world. It literally thinks it's helping you survive the winter. The problem is that dangerous, scarce world no longer exists. The treasure cave never empties now. Your ancient brain still hasn't realized the hunt is over. So the big question to leave you with today is, can you? Next time you reach for that sugary snack, just remember the immense, wild, evolutionary journey sitting right there on your tongue.